Would you like to stand up for your country in your time of need? Well, if you do decide to stand up for your country, you might just end up getting arrested. So that's what I wanted to talk about was what we saw outside Downing Street. There really were we really did see some mad scenes. I was even showing my kids at one point just what happens when you end up with a mass unrest in the street. And one thing that I've never seen before, it's actually the thumbnail uh, of this live stream. Let me know if you can hear me well as well. I had a little bit of audio issues on the last live stream, but I have sorted that one out. It was too high a quality being sent to the live stream, but I think that my audio is all good now. But like I said, I've never seen the police just round up and arrest everyone. Like there was that square. I'm sure you saw the footage last night, but it was the square that would have been, I'm guessing, adjacent to Downing Street. Your sound is fine. Thank you very much, Graham. I appreciate that. Yeah, resolved that problem. Um, are you sure my sound is fine? Wait, was my sound fine? I'm guessing it was. Anyway, yeah, so I swear I had that turned down on OBS. That's a bit of a strange one. But yeah, so that square that would have been right next to Downing Street where they essentially rounded everyone up last night. Like I said, I've never seen in the UK where young and old, like male and female, most of those people, like there were some sort of agitators in the crowd, so to speak. But a lot of those people you could see as they were being wheeled off, they were um they were just asking what they were doing, like what it is that they've done, and the police were simply just not responding to them. They just would pretty much just arresting them. I don't want to say indiscriminately, but I mean it was pretty indiscriminately because they weren't discriminating against anyone. It was like I said, young and old, male and female. Um, And one guy even did the thing that my dad always said that he would do was make him carry you. He was shouting as he was being arrested in the taken to the police van, shouting, "This is what you got to do. You got to make him carry you," which is definitely one technique. But yeah, like I said, I've never seen that in the UK because I know it's a cliche point to make, right? I know it's a cliche point to make, but they did not act that way in Leeds. You remember about a week or two ago, the situation in Leeds where it wasn't British people protesting, and it was the same, if not more, sort of caliber of sort of instigation, so to speak. But they didn't arrest anyone. Well, they didn't arrest everyone who was stood by then, because from what I understand, the reason why they arrested everyone yesterday was because they didn't know who was in charge. Like at the other rallies, you've got Tommy, and you've got all of that sort of like Danny Tomo and Inman and all those sorts of people. So you knew who organised it, but because yesterday they didn't technically know who organised it, they basically just arrested everyone. But the point that I want to make, and it is a cliche point, but it's an accurate point as well, is they didn't do that at Leeds because when it comes to Leeds, there weren't any organisers. There wasn't like coordinators on the ground, like one main spokesman for the group. It was everyone. So if they arrest everyone at the Downing Street protest that we saw yesterday, if they arrest everyone at the Downing Street protest because they don't know who's in charge, why wouldn't they arrest everyone in Leeds? Because again, they just don't know who's in charge. I used to not think that two-tier policing was sort of a conspiracy, but I think last night like Vomit put here, I think we did actually see two-tier policing last night. It was like something out of Russia and China. I completely agree. I completely agree. There's going to be so many people today, like literally waking up today for the first time in their. I'll stop banging the desk. but they'll be waking up today for the first time in their life inside a prison cell, not just visiting, but an overnight stay. Hundreds of people. I'm sure we all saw the footage of I'm not going to say elderly lady because she wasn't elderly. She was probably about sort of in her 50s or 60s, and she was stood there being arrested by about 5 or 6 police officers, and she was saying, "Hang on, I've got a pacemaker. You're arresting me. This is the first time I've been arrested, and I didn't do nothing, as they say. I didn't do nothing." And all that happened, well, she ended up getting arrested, but the female police officer just told her to calm down. She said, "Will you calm down?" Which I've been heavily informed that doesn't work when it comes to females acting on Khan's orders. You know what? Possibly. I guess he is technically, so to speak, in charge of the Met Police. So maybe that is why there's 2 tiers, is because if you have multiple people sort of running the situation, then I can imagine, yeah, you are going to get 2 tiers of police force, sort of 2 strategies of doing things. I mean, even when you're in a business and you work alongside someone, they're going to have a different sort of way of carrying things out. So, I mean, after what we saw yesterday, I'm fully on board with the 2-tier policing thing. Thank you for following me on X from Professor Chocolate Cake. Um, I appreciate that. I'll always I'll always follow back. I find it kind of, even though my timeline is definitely flooded, I will always follow back. Um, Hello, clown. Hello, Charles. Disgusting police state at work last night. No, I completely agree, and that's why I put that tweet up from Richard Tice. I don't want to say he's throwing people under the bus, but they're kind of distancing themselves as well. Because I do want to get back to the fact that people this morning are waking up uh, in a police cell for the first time ever, as well as missing work and everything like that. But a lot of those people last night, a lot of those people outside Downing Street would have been Reform supporters. They might even be Reform members. Like I'm fairly certain there would have been dozens, hundreds of Reform members last night, not necessarily arrested, but to feel that strongly and to go out on the street, um, and sort of cause the unrest that they did, they're obviously passionate. And like I said, for Richard Tice to come out and for Nigel Farage to barely even mention it, it's it's an odd strategy. I'll give them that. They're trying to appeal to the left whilst also trying to be friendly with the right. Um, and then they even do the weird thing of just saying that nobody's on the right, nobody's far right, which I find that very strange. Um, but yeah, like I said, I don't want to say that Richard Tyson Reform are like throwing people under the bus, but they are really distancing themselves from this one, sort of disassociating themselves. So it'll be interesting to see the response when it comes to Reform and how they've done the things. But like I said, there are going to be hundreds of people waking up today in a prison cell for the first time in their life, and they're probably going to be quite confused, obviously confused, tired, uncomfortable. They're going to be scared because it doesn't just end today. It's not just the end of their legal dramas. It's not just get out of the cell, you've done your night, that's your punishment. These people, they're going to be, every time the postman delivers a letter, say within the next 6 months, it's, when you're driving down a road fast and you wonder to yourself, did I go past the speed camera? And did I get flashed by the speed camera? And you sit there for the next 2 weeks wondering if you're actually going to get that letter through the post. They're going to be sat there, like a lot of them are going to be released on bail pending further inquiries. These people, they've got places to go. They've got jobs. Like the people that woke up this morning, they've now, well, they can't really call into the boss and say that they're not going to be in today, but that is the reality. Do you know what I mean? Missing work, days income. It's done a lot to deter people from going. It really has. It really has. Yeah, 73. So she was 70. Oh, she looks young for 73, I will say that. But police arrested the 73-year-old woman with a pacemaker and tried to roll me up They don't call them filth for nothing. 73, pacemaker. She said, "I've never been arrested before. What have I done?" And the policewoman said, "Look, calm down. That don't work. I've tried the calm down line on the females before. I've tried the calm down line. Don't work." Sid Precious. Food's awful too. I bet it is. I bet it is. And it's gonna be a real shock to the system. It's gonna, when they say that people get radicalized over things like this, I mean, I don't you can't name his name on YouTube, but there was a certain person in the 20s, no, 30s, who got arrested, uh, and he went on to do some wide scale European things. So when you arrest people for their political beliefs, again, you're just gonna radicalize people. It's a dangerous situation. As well as that, as well as waking up, like I said, in a prison cell, these people are most likely gonna have their phones taken off of them, you know? Like, because the police are gonna wanna look at who organized it, as well as look through their entire gallery, their entire messages, and just find out all pieces of dirt that they can, and then just try and tarnish the whole group with that. Like, let's say that someone's got some unsavory images on their phone or something like that, they'll just tarnish the entire group with that sort of caliber of people. So I would imagine that they're all going to have their phones taken off of them. That's even if they get interviewed today, because most of them, unless they're going to pay for a lawyer, they're just going to get one of those state-funded lawyers. And I can't imagine they've got hundreds just sat there, just twiddling their fingers, just waiting to go. So they're probably just going to have to one by one them using the state-funded lawyers, unless people are willing to pay for their own solicitors. But yeah, I did want to briefly mention, just for 10 seconds, I don't think Tommy Robinson's going to come out and give any of that donation money to the people. But I think that's all I'll mention on when it comes to that one. But like I said, they're going to have their phones taken off of them. Yeah, massive inconvenience that is, as well as being arrested. Not to mention potentially on a criminal record as well. This is police criminality. So Skitsy put, "This is police criminality. We cannot surrender." It really does seem like a fork in the road, really, because these next couple of rallies, duty solicitors, tongue twisters. I almost. This is why I don't do lives. I was so close to swearing then. I was so close to swearing. That's why I don't do many lives. I swear. I know I don't swear on my videos, but I use swear words like they're glue, like they join words. So that's generally and slurs as well. But we won't mention those. Yeah, duty solicitors are popo. Do you mean poo poo or police? Because I mean, they could be either or. To be fair, they could be either or. And like I said, they're not going to have hundreds just sat there twiddling their thumbs. So they're gonna. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I really, honestly, would not be surprised if there's people out there to the weekend. That's my mouse, by the way. That horrific sound on the mic. I wouldn't be surprised if there's people out there still to this weekend, still sat there in prison. They might remand people. It's yeah, it's really is a difficult situation. Those next rallies are going to be interesting when it comes to turnout. Truth be told, I was thinking of going to the next one with my dad. I might still go. It would be very fun. But yeah, I think the threat of people are getting arrested is definitely going to put people off. Even people like Carl Benjamin on Twitter last night saying that he recommended that nobody go to any further protests for the time being. Ironically, his profile photo is him at a protest. But yeah, that's kind of the difficulty when it comes to, they kept most of those people from leaving, asking for the loot equals no. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. There must have been about 200 people just in that one single square last night. I didn't initially know what was happening in that square. Like, obviously, I knew the protest, but And then you just see them get led off one by one, and you think to yourself, "Well, they just taken the troublemakers." About half an hour passed, and I'm like, "No, no, no, they're not just taking the troublemakers. They're taking everyone. They're quite literally arresting everyone." And the reason why they said it, like I said, is because they claimed they didn't know who was in charge. But how often is there really gonna be anyone in charge of these protests? Like, I've never seen that happen. We didn't see it happen in BLM. They didn't just sat there saying, "Oh, hang on, everyone in the van, because we don't know who's in charge here." They didn't say that. They just arrested the troublemakers. Whereas here, last night, they arrested everyone. Like, it's like I said, I've never seen it before. It really is some sort of North Korean type stuff. Sid Precious, revolution cancelled. We might break the law. That's it. Revolution's over, guys. We might have to break the law. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. It really is. Schizosis. Can't believe I only just subbed. I love your videos, dude. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that. I will salute you. I'll give you a salute. I appreciate we've got some pretty wild stuff. A lot of freedom of information requests. Quite a few of them. So yeah, so you're gonna love it around here. DJE is that the auditor? Is it DJE audits? Got arrested. Police told him the police told him higher ups gave orders. Really? That's 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 pretty interesting. For anyone who hasn't seen those auditors, it really is the Lord's work. The Lord's work. Um, they basically just sort of go to businesses, not antagonize them, but just sort of stretch the law. I wouldn't even say they stretched the law, but I imagine that he was live streaming there when he got arrested, and for them to say that higher ups gave orders, I might actually do a few freedom of information requests today about Downing Street and what we saw. I can hear my two neighbours, my two female neighbours shouting next door. Wouldn't we all love to know what they're shouting about? I can hear them. I can hear 'em. It sounds like they're chasing each other around. So, Cosmic Audio, you should be encouraging more people to go to demos. All those falsely accused will have a case against the police. Possibly. Possibly. I'm sure there will be. I mean, I did see some sort of um, I did see some rough tactics yesterday. Again, tactics which I haven't really seen used against the British before, you know, such as rounding everyone up, young, old, male, female, and that's it when it comes to the male and female. But like I said, it was kind of shocking. I was watching it with my kids. Um, it's definitely it's definitely not family viewing, but you know, they play a lot of Grand Theft Auto. And, I was explaining it in, Grand Theft Auto terms. You know, they've got some wanted stars and, you know, this is just the police sorting the situation out. And, I yeah, like I said, I couldn't believe it when they started arresting people, just everyone. It was rough justice, rough justice. Someone put there about my neighbours, about the 2 female neighbours. I'll keep my voice down. They're not they're not like shaved hair, butch, sort of, uh that kind. They've got if you met them in the street and they weren't together, you probably would think that they're straight. Um, and that's my that's my assessment. Twice baked spuds. What up, clown? You good, bro? I'm kid free. It's half term and I've got today off work, so I'm relatively okay. I just can't believe that those people waking up in the prison cells for the first time ever. That is going to be a shock to the system. It really is, and they've got a fork in the road. Just those people, um, they've got a fork in the road as to whether or not they're going to carry on with this movement or double down. It's it's quite a situation. Susan Mills there, and thank you for all of your comments, by the way, and everyone watching. We've got 226 people watching. So I appreciate that. So Susan Mills put, they're terrified that the British are not taking their crap anymore. They want to intimidate us into submission. And you know what? Like I said earlier on, I didn't think that two-tier policing was a conspiracy, but I did think that people were just using that phrase when they were just doing unsavory stuff, you know? Um, and although we did see people yesterday doing that unsavory stuff, the way that they were just indiscriminately arresting people, I did not like that at all. I did not like that at all. That really, I wanted to go down there at that point when they were arresting everyone because I was thinking, can't the 200 people just run off? But no, no, that would have caused way more legal issues if they'd have just all ran off at once because they obviously outnumbered the police. But like I said, I really didn't expect to see that. Technical 100 put Britain is at a fork in the road. He's turned it round 180. Taken my own words and reused them, recycled them. Britain is at a fork in the road. I could not agree more. Could not agree more that Britain is at a fork in the road. I mean, I'm a lot of people have optimism, right? I wish you guys I wish you could have met me about 8 years ago. I was Captain Optimism. You know, I thought unended growth, constant prosperity, and then you start to peel back the layers, and you realize. And I know at the time that the UK and the world had some financial issues and things like that, but in terms of the societal issues, it really is getting weird. Skitsy put, calm down on me, sends me from 10 to 1,000 in seconds. No, I completely agree. I'm sure you've all seen the video. It's the female blonde hair getting arrested, 5 or 6 police officers. She says, I've got a pacemaker. Pacemaker? I almost swore again then. Pacemaker. I mean, take care. Right? If someone's got a pacemaker, the heart is an important muscle. And they're just sat there arresting someone and telling her to calm down. Vampy Jen, they think we're all stupid. I agree. They think that we don't see the difference because I know I said it's cliche and it is a cliche point to make. But they didn't do that at Leeds. They did not do that in Leeds. They didn't arrest. I was reading 2 words then. Mark Boldazar, good broadcast, mate. Thanks to you. I appreciate that. That's an interesting heart icon that you've got there. Kind of reminds me of the Swiss flag. But yeah, like I said, those people are going to be really waking up to quite a shock today. Quite a shock. And like I said, the majority of them, they're probably going to be there for the weekend. Their phones are probably going to be in police custody for months. I mean, they had Lawrence Fox's phones. They had like 6 phones and 4 laptops or whatever. I mean, the guy's got 6 phones, but 6 phones, 4 laptops, and they had those for months and months and months. Skitsy put, and the nerve of Labour to put up taxes after only 3 weeks. I know. I love elections because you get the stuff that they tell you before the election, and then you get the stuff they tell you after. And that's why when the elections are over, it's not over because you've still got them in there for all those years. And it's, yeah, for them to, even the things like inheritance tax, capital gains, it's not good what they're doing. I'm really not a fan. I'm just gonna go spend some time going through the comments now. But yeah, what do you think? It's I'm just trying to find a comment that doesn't have some sort of iffy keyword. Davey 1602, long-term viewer of the channel. This government has proven themselves to be incompetent in such a short time. I really do agree. They've if you went through sort of like what happened, like kind of like what I do with the video today, actually, if you haven't seen it, I'd really recommend checking it out. The way that I sort of recap uh, the month after it happened. If we did that week by week, I might actually do that week by week since Labour came into power and just take the worst article of the week, albeit it's been what, 4 weeks, and it we've seen some serious unrest. Ray Eli put the police are sheep, the government are our enemies. Love and light from people in Liverpool. Yeah, 100%, 100%. They are just carrying out their orders. Like someone said before, I won't be able to find the comment, but DJE Media was told that he was arrested because they had, not maybe not him specifically, although I'm sure it was, he was arrested because they had orders from above. Like I said, I completely, I'm on board with two-tier policing now because they were literally running away in Leeds. The police were running away. Like, you can't say it any clearer than that. They're running off down the street, whereas here they were calling for backup to arrest British people. And I know there were some people doing some um, unnecessary techniques. I will say the day before, the one that was actually in Leeds, the unrest that was in Leeds, um, the size of the bricks that the Brits were throwing. I don't know where they were. I said to my kids because I watched that one with them as well. I can assure you, I am a good parent. But I remember saying to them, like, I can't believe the size of these bricks, kids. They're going all in. It's and Ireland seems to be leading the way. Interesting comment here. Innocent people get arrested with riot police, all while Hugh Edwards gets a kind police escort to court. I, I, I can't say it any clearer than that. Honestly, I can't. I mean, there was no heavy-handedness or anything, and I don't really think that there really needed to be. Last night, I did see one officer on GB News say that an officer should get on the megaphone and start reasoning with the protesters, but I actually don't think that that really would have worked. I don't think anyone outside Downing Street when we saw it. I don't think many people would have listened to an officer shouting down the megaphone to go home. Someone put brick-sized bricks, I guess, but they were about half the size of, I don't know, half the size of a microwave, I would say. It was so we'll do Jenny. Hi, Sir David. How you doing? Hello, Jenny. So James put, this isn't funny. Half the stuff I discuss on the channel is not funny. But if you can't laugh at it, I'm not having a go at you. But if you can't laugh at it, I don't know what the other emotion is that we're supposed. What the other emotion is that we're supposed to feel. This isn't funny, but the situation is understandable. I don't agree with violence, but for so many years now, we have put up with this. We really have. We really have. It's honestly, it's a fork in the road when it comes to the UK. It's a fork in the road, and I don't know how the UK is going to respond to this one. It really is. Bill Ridley put, are we not living in China? I think we might be. I honestly think we might be. Like I said, the way that they were just indiscriminately arresting everyone out of that square, and it took about 2 or 3 hours last night. I watched most of it. I just couldn't believe it. I was editing a video at the time, and I had it on my second monitor. I just couldn't believe it. I've never seen that tactic used at any other sort of place of unrest. They don't just arrest everyone. Like in Leeds, when they were like I saw one throw a kid's trike, like a free-wheeled bike, at a police car. Just throw it at them. They probably would have arrested. Well, maybe not, but they didn't arrest everyone on site, and that would have been the equivalent because that unrest that we saw in Leeds the first night with the non-Britishly British Britishers, they didn't arrest everyone there, but they did outside Downing Street. And like I said, that did not That did not sit well with me. It really didn't. It's worse than China. I've never been to China. Um, I'd like to go. I wouldn't try much of the food, um, but I'd like to go, but I wouldn't stay there very long. Um, I really wouldn't. Frozen chicken is are you Jen, are you on about throwing frozen chicken at the police here now? Come on now, Jen. Throwing frozen chicken at the Salmonella for self-defense. Eh, I mean, the real self-defense probably would have been vacating, but we vacated now for years. We spent years vacating the area, running off. Yeah, I think you were, Jen. I think you were on about throwing chicken at the police. But where was that other one? For self-defense. Yeah, yeah. It's a tricky situation. Like I said, we've been vacating the area for years now, just watching other people get away with things like that. And I don't know. That's quite a funny image on screen. What they've done to that police van there. Someone put, "Are my neighbours still shouting?" No, I actually can't hear them now, and now I'm debating as to whether or not they heard me. I've been trying for years, guys. I can assure you, I've been trying for years to no avail. No avail. No luck. No luck. Uh, I'll keep you. I'll keep you updated though. Ozzy Osbourne threw a joint of beef over his neighbour's garden fence. That sounds like something that he would do. It really, really does. Oh, good one here about reform. And get your last couple of comments in. And also, if someone can think of any freedom of information requests that I can put forward for last night, such as how many police, the overall cost of the cost of the day, how many police were in attendance. Um, I suppose we can't do how long the longest person was held for because there's going to be hundreds of people inside jail at the moment. But yeah, if you can think of any FOI requests, put them in the chat now, and I'll go through the comments after the live stream because I'll wrap it up in a minute. But after there's someone I want to mention as well, just before I go. But put in the comments if there's any FOI requests that you want me to put towards the government, because worst they can say is no. Well, I guess the worst they could say is no, and we're coming to arrest you, clown. After last night, I think that's the potential of what's happening. FOI conditions for arrest. I mean, I'll write that down. FOI. Sorry about the mad typing sound. For arrest. What was the condition for arrest? Like what sort of broke the camel's back, so to speak? That'll be an interesting one. Oh, when did they first get the call to respond with riot gear? That would be a good one. When did they get the call? I probably sound about 11 years old typing then, reading out as a type. But yeah, when did they get the call to respond? Because let's say they got the call at 1 in the afternoon to respond in a riot gear. Well, I'd find that very confusing because the protest didn't start until 7. I just want to know who their master really is. Who are the politicians serving? Who is the Dark Lord of the Sith? I don't know. I don't even know if you could mention it here. I really don't. It's controversial. It really is. How many were arrested? You know what? Actually, to be fair, on a fundamental level, because the news is just making up figures at the moment. The news is saying 100. They're saying over 100. I would say in that single square yesterday, I must have watched about 200 people or more get marched out. So how many people were arrested is a great one. It really is. I'm going to do multiple FOI requests because if I give them 4 at once, they'll say, "Hang on a second, clown. That's going to cost more than 600 quid. And then they won't do the FOI. I swear I just had one about reform. I will go back and find it. But this one here, I'm a huge psychology enthusiast. Myself too. Myself too. It's a great thing to study, humans, and believe that we've reached a turning point in people's minds. This is MQ the AI. Previously quiet friends are now boldly standing up for themselves. I completely agree. It's a fork in the road. It's a pivot point. It's 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 a bit of a concerning situation. And I really do think, like he said there, that we've reached a turning point, not just in society, but in people's minds. How many women were arrested? That'll be an interesting one. I know, and from my crazy ex-girlfriend, who is, I don't want to go on a competition here, but she might be the crazy ex-girlfriend in the world. I'm sure I ruffled some feathers. I'm sure you guys and gals have some crazy exes, but generally speaking, they're a bit more calmer. I didn't like seeing that woman arrested with a pacemaker. If she really is 74, you don't arrest 74-year-olds with pacemakers who were doing, unless you can prove that they were doing stuff. Maybe take her around the corner to have a chat, not like a Sopranos type chat, but take her around the corner to speak to her. Dave, but heading off to work now. Take care, Clown World, and keep them coming. I appreciate that always. Nothing could stop me. I'll be here at 2 a.m. editing videos. Who needs sleep? Who needs sleep? Who needs sleep? Honestly, who needs sleep? Any police, so I'm not a bot, any police with an ounce of self-respect should join the protesters. That's an interesting one. It would have been interesting to see them join the protesters yesterday. But they would be sacked and arrested. So I don't want to speak for them. But yeah, I will wrap up the live stream here. I wanted to say thank you very much for joining. If there are any FOI requests that you can think of, not just about Downing Street, but just in general, I'm really into making FOI requests at the moment. The government must hate it, but I'm really on board. I'm just asking. I'm asking them more questions than my kids ask me when I've got like a sandwich hidden behind my back. They just come in with the questions. That's what I'm trying to do with the government at the moment. Really, just ask as many questions and get as many facts as I can. And how many undercover? Oh Jesus! That is genius. How many undercover police were there? Oh, this is turning into Trump's early January situation. How many instigators were there? That's an interesting question. I wonder if they'll let us know. There must be. There must have been. If they're acting like police, there must have been undercovers there. That's genius. Technical 100. That's genius. Wow. But yeah, I just wanted to say as well, thank you for watching, for listening, for subscribing. Last month was the biggest month from the of the channel. We got, so it was a fraction over 1.3 million views. I don't even like calling it 1.3 million views. I think it sounds a bit tacky. I like eyes and ears, like 1.3 million eyes and ears. I know obviously you could double it because everyone's got 2 sets of eyes, but come on now. But yeah, 1.3 million eyes and ears. Like, it's a lot of information that's being passed around, and I will always do my best to make sure that everything is correct. I don't upload incorrect stuff. I'd be distraught if I did. But yeah, I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone. Brian Jones, Ethan Winstanley has disappeared. His Telegram channel too. I do talk with Ethan quite often, to be fair. I will ask him if he's okay. He's usually quite chirpy. Um, I do like Ethan. He's good. I really do. But yeah, I appreciate your time. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you very much. Have a very good day. It is unbearably hot, and yeah, have an excellent day.